Hi guys, today we are going to be building a hero/landing page with Webflow. Okay, so what we're going to start by doing is by dragging a div block and giving it a class of hero. Okay, give this a height of 88 VH. Now 88 VH because this navbar already has a height of 12 VH, right? And we know that 100 VH basically means 100% of the user's viewport height, like the screen height, right? So 12 VH is like 12% of that. 88 VH would like be the rest of the screen. So, yep. Just gonna give this a background color of the blue. Actually, I'm just gonna, because my body already has a background color of blue, which is not what I want. So I'm just gonna make that transparent and have the hero be the one with the background color. Yep, okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do is drag in another div. I'm gonna call this one hero text wrapper. Okay, now this is gonna have a width of 50%, because if we look back here again, I just wanted to take up like half of this area, so 50%. And then I want to give it a height of 100%, so it spans this entire hero thing. Then what I want to do is set the flex box to vertical. Again, you'll see in a second why I do this. Okay, because I'm going to be bringing in some text in here and I want it to be centered. So there we go. Gonna bring in a heading. Actually, wait, I don't want this to be centered that way. Like that, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, sorry. Okay, go back to the heading, give it a class of hero. Heading. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down here, pick a font. I already have a couple selected, so Open Sans. Gotta make it a bit bolder actually and change the color to white. And I want to make it substantially bigger, it's like 70 pixels. Yep, there. Pepsi. Is that what I put here? Okay. The text doesn't really matter. You can put whatever you want. Okay. There. Pepsi. And then what do I want to do? I want to bring in, of course, this second piece of text over here. So I'm gonna drag in a paragraph element. Hero paragraph. Hero para. Don't want to make it too big. Okay, so hero para, same font, right? Make it a little bit lighter. Can't really see. Make it white. There. Don't want all this text really, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Instead, what I'm gonna do is make it a bit bigger. Give this a bit more space so that like all the text isn't as cramped, and I'm gonna give it some margin at the top. 30 pixels. There we go. Okay. Take this, do that, and okay, that's good. Now, I know it is very pushed up against the side, but we'll fix that in just a second. So come back to actually, let me just do that right now. So I'm going to go back to my hero element, right, the parent. Gonna give it some space. Yeah, I want to pick space around because I want like some space on the side. And right now it just looks like in the center. It's in the center, so that's because we still have to get this animation going. So let's start on that. Oh, wait, maybe we should finish the button first. I'm moving too far ahead, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna grab a button. Okay, and we're going to be reusing this button a lot, like all over the page. We're just going to be changing the color when we reuse it. So, yep. So, ripple button. I'm going to give this a class of ripple button. Some padding at the top and the same thing at the bottom. Let's see. That looks about right. Same thing here. 66. Okay. Then I am going to make the width be 50%. So like of this text wrapper thing. And then I am going to change the background color because nobody wants this. It's not going to be this. I'm going to make it this lighter shade of blue. That's not it either. Never mind. I don't know what I'm saying. This one. Yep. Light blue. Fine. Medium blue works. I have too many swatches. Sorry. This must be confusing. Okay, there. I'm gonna give this a border radius of 50 pixels so that there's like some like roundness to the edges. And then I'm gonna change the font. So make it Montserrat 800, so a bit bold, and 25 pixels, so pretty big. That's good. I'm gonna change the text to be, what did I put? I don't remember all these. Okay, by Pepsi, and I'm gonna align it to the middle. There, perfect. So now, when we are doing our animation, right, there's a lot of things we have to kind of mess with, because if you look closely here, right, the text stays over while this like circle thing comes underneath it and takes up kind of like the color of the button, right? So what I have to do is I have to keep this text as like a different layer, and that'll make sense in just a second. Okay, here. So let me just show you guys how to make it, and then maybe you'll understand better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in another div. Call this div ripple button wrapper. I'm gonna put this ripple button inside of here, and I'm gonna say that this ripple button now has a width of 50% of this parent element, and we want the actual ripple button to have a width of 100% because now it's taking up this ripple button wrapper, right? So what we're going to do with this ripple button wrapper is we're going to do the same, kind of give the same style. So we're going to give this the same border radius of 50 pixels. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to be flex, vertical, and then center like this. And I'll explain that in a moment when I put some text over this. So also, okay, there. Then what I want to do is I want to bring in a piece of text to serve as kind of like the thing that sits on top of here, okay? So I'm gonna call this ripple button text, okay? And this text is gonna just be the same text, and it's very important that it's the same text because if, for example, I'll show you guys in a minute. Okay. So I'm just gonna give this the same styles as the ripple button, right? So in the ripple button we have Montserrat 825 pixels. So I'm just gonna do the same thing here. 825 more, we can do that too. 25 pixels, right? So it looks like the same thing, right? But what we're gonna do next is we're going to position this absolutely, and then it gets positioned right on top of here. So this will be positioned relatively. This ripple button text should be right over. Now if I change the text of like the actual ripple button and I make it something like this happens, and usually you would be expecting the size of the ripple button to change, right? So like for example, if I just got rid of this for just a second and then I made this ripple button text, the size gets bigger, right? But then when we show this, it stays the same. So that's why what we need to do, we need to make sure that they're the same text. And also, now that we put it on top of here, if I get rid of this position absolute, right? This, when you put them on top of each other, they look kind of a bit pixelated. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to this ripple button and set like the color of the text to just be the color of the, that's not what I wanted to do, to just be the color of the background itself. So that way it doesn't look pixelated anymore, like that. Then what I want to do is, of course, this little circle that grows and takes over the page, right? That's what I want to make next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another div, and I'm going to call this ripple button circle. Okay. Okay. This is going to be 20 pixels, so really small, but it'll grow in a second. 20 pixels. Gonna have the same border radius of 50 because I want it to look like a circle. Maybe I'll make it 50%. That way it's like a full circle and not just 50 pixels works too. Okay, sorry. I know I'm very indecisive. Okay, I'm just gonna set the position to be absolute because we want it to start from this corner. Let's go back and show you what that, yeah, I wanted to start from this corner here and then grow, right? So positioned absolutely, and right now it's right in the middle, right? But what we're gonna do is, you can select one of these presets. I'm just gonna, there you go. So because this ripple button wrapper is set to relative positioning, what that means is like the ripple button circle, when we select this preset right here, it's gonna go to the bottom left of its relative parent, so ripple button wrapper. Okay, so yep, border radius, and I'm gonna give this a background color of red, this red right here. This is the hex code for anybody that needs that, and there. Okay, so let's give this the animation. So select the ripple button wrapper, go to your interactions panel, mouse hover. Okay, there. I'm gonna start a custom animation. I'm gonna call this ripple button on hover. Okay, now the first thing that I want to do is I want to get this little circle, right? And I want it to, first of all, I want it to show, right? Because like right now it's hidden. We set it to display. We didn't. Well, that's kind of important, I assume. Yep. No, actually, let's see. Let's go back here. Okay, we don't need that, I guess. I'm gonna get the size right here and make it 500 pixels by 500 pixels, so it grows like this. Now, obviously, that's not what's happening here, right? It's staying inside the borders of the button itself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our ripple button wrapper, save our animation, go back here, and we want to set the overflow. Where is it? Ah, right here, sorry. The overflow to hidden. Now if we go back and we preview our animation, there we go. Okay, let's go back and look at that. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but let's see. See, okay, there. There's like a little bit of space left over, because what's happening is it's growing from that point, but it's also moving a little bit. So I'm just gonna move this like a little bit to the left. Maybe not that much. Okay, yeah, sure. And then also a bit down. there. Now let's go preview it. There we go. That looks good. Now, the next thing that we want to do is obviously we want this text to come up on top, right? So that we're going to achieve by setting some z indexes. So z index is like the kind of like the layering. So like the top layer will have like a highest z index. So if I want to give this one, I'm going to pick a random number, 420, sure. And then I want this to be like above the circle, right? So I'm going to set the circle and give this a z-index of like 200, for example, right? So basically, this is higher, like, or on top of the circle. So if you go back, there you go. Okay, now we have a bit of a problem. Our animation, like, it doesn't go away when we hover out, right? So that's our next thing that we're going to work on. Okay, so the hover out animation, right? Now if we click on this interaction, this trigger again, right? If you look down here, it says on hover out. So when you take your mouse away from it, what do you want to happen, right? And we're just going to start our own animation. That took me a second. Okay. And I'm going to call this ripple button hover out. And I'm just going to select the circle, right? And have the size set back to 0. And there. So now if we go try, that should work. Perfect, 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 perfect. Now, I kind of, I don't know if you guys can see this, but like when I hover on this, there's a cursor, right? But then the cursor disappears. Well, buttons should have a cursor usually. So I'm just gonna set that entire thing to have a cursor because that's kind of annoying. Okay, so cursor, pointer, do the same thing for the circle, and do the same thing for this text. Where is it? Ah, I just saw it. Oh my god. Ah, there it is. Okay. So if we had like a normal button without this animation, we didn't have to set like a cursor pointer on all of them. But now that we are doing this animation, we kind of want to do that. Now, I also want to add some margin to the top of this, or maybe to the bottom of this. Yeah, just because it looked a bit cramped. Okay, that's good. Now the next thing we want to do is, of course, this Pepsi can animation. So I'm just gonna drag in a div block, call this hero image wrapper. Wow, that's spelled badly. Okay, so rename class. There we go. Okay, now this is gonna have a width of 30% and a height of 100%. Now if you remember, this one has a width of 50%, and if this one has a width of 30%, that means that together they only have a width of 80%, right? So that leaves like 20% of other space to be distributed so that, you know, there's always like good spacing between items. Okay, there. So hero image wrapper. Now I want the element, so I'm going to bring in the image in just a second, but I want it to be like vertical, so from top to bottom, centered in the middle, and centered in the middle again, so like from vertically and horizontally. Okay, I'm going to grab this image. I already have it saved right here in my assets panel. Okay, gonna give this a class of hero image, width of 100%. But as you can see, like as we get bigger, this width is gonna get pretty insufferable, and the quality isn't as good. So I'm just gonna set a max width, so like a maximum width of like how far it can go, and I'm just gonna set the max width to be 300 pixels. So like this is as big as it gets. Like it cannot get bigger than this. We could even set it to be 50 pixels if we wanted to, but you know, we want it to be a bit bigger than that. So Okay, so next what I want to do is, of course, drag in my animation. So I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to call this, what am I going to call this? I should probably have thought about this, sorry. Sparkle Lottie. Okay, position of absolute, so that we can put it over this image, so that when we hover, then it comes up on top of it, right? Gonna give this a width of 50%, so it's not 50%. What is that? Well, that's not. Right. We should probably set the image for a wrapper to be positioned relatively. No, you know what? Whatever. Let's try this and see if it works. Okay. I'm going to go to my interactions. Sorry, I'm all over the place. You have to deal with it. Okay. Okay, start an animation. Call this hero image hover. Okay. When we hover, we just want this sparkle Lottie to, well, Lottie. So 0 to 100. So 0% for 2 seconds, and then I want it to. Now you can play around with these settings for however long you'd like. Like it's. Well, that's not what I want. Okay, there, because it's like it takes a lot of time to figure out like how long you want it to be and stuff. But you can play around with them. Like you can make it last for shorter time if that's what you want. But I prefer it this way. And honestly, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this a little bit. Like maybe not 50%, 35. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And also, of course, set that cursor to pointer so that people like know that they're hovering on something like that. Perfect. Let's look back here. Anything we're missing? No, I think we're good. We built a button that has this cool ripple effect, right? We have this amazing Lottie animation that shows up whenever you hover on this can. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this one, like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram. The link is always in the description. Watch the other video in this series. There's going to be more of this Pepsi website that I have ideas for coming up in the next couple days, hopefully. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.